Good morning and welcome to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter, the show that takes a look at the events and what's happening all around Putnam County, as well as interviews with local, community, and business leaders. And now, sharing his insights and experience, here's Today in Putnam County with County Mayor Randy Porter.
Good day, and thanks for joining us this week for Today in Putnam County. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great weekend. Our show this week is about our Putnam County Fire Department and the new leadership that's been brought into the department. My guests are the new Fire Chief, Mr. Jeff Hicks, and the new Assistant Chief, Mr. Coty Nash. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being on the show, and especially thanks for what y'all do for the county. I know it's a serious job. At any time, you're putting your life on the line with these, going to these fires and wrecks and stuff, so I appreciate what y'all do for our county.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Jeff, you're a full-time chief. Tom Brown decided he'd had enough and retired.
He did. And I never thought I'd see anybody enjoy retirement like he has enjoyed it.
Me neither. I can't even get him to come back and even visit. He just
he comes by and visits us.
I told him he had to take me out to lunch pretty soon.
We're not seeing him as often as we used to, but he's still around a little.
Right.
Well, and for those of y'all that may not know Tom's a walking miracle.
That's a fact.
Tom got leukemia, got cancer, and went through all kinds of treatment, and didn't give him much hope in the beginning, but he's totally cancer-free now.
Miracles work.
Yes, absolutely. Good Lord's good. And so we were happy for Tom to retire, and Tom had been training you, Jeff, to move in that position. That's one thing in Putnam County we have in all the departments. I've got about 20 departments that fall under the county mayor, and we have an assistant director for each director because you never know when something's going to happen unexpectedly. We got to keep government going and step up. So you stepped up. And Jeff, you've been in fire for a long time. Tell us a little bit about where you came from and how you got here.
I started in 2000 at the Monterey Fire Department. My brother actually talked me into joining. Man, the bug just bit me. I just got eat up in it, and now me and my sister are still on the department, but my brother has since went away. He's gone. Yeah. Started as a volunteer, volunteered 13 years. In 2013, County Commission was gracious to us and voted to make us a combination department, and I was one of the first 5 full-time firemen ever hired.
Wow, you were one of the first group then.
Yep.
That was a big deal too, wasn't it? All these years depending on volunteers, and
we still do today.
You still do.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that down the show about how hard it is to get folks to volunteer now. And so you've been the chief now
9 months. 9
months.
Yep.
So got your feet good and wet.
A little damp. Yep.
Yeah. I know when I went from just being a paramedic to being the director, it was difficult to not want to jump in and grab that hose. And have you had a hard time converting over to letting your folks do it instead of jumping in?
Not as much as what some people have, and the reason is I was shift captain prior, and as a shift captain, we had a fire scene. We tried to run the scene, so you transfer that to the other guys, and you let them go and let them run, and that's what I've done. If there's a fire right now, Deputy Chief Doss would be scene command, even if I'm there, and I would come in and what do you need?
So you already had that experience shifting it over to the folks before you came in as chief. Well, you're doing a good job, and
thank you.
Appreciate you stepping up. Coty, tell us a little bit about you and how you got here.
Well, I grew up in a emergency services family. My grandpa Joe Nash was with the sheriff's department for
many years,
pretty much my whole life, and he was the shift sergeant, the shift commander on his shift, and pretty much it was a foregone conclusion. Most of us growing up, the kids in my family, were going to go into emergency services. We all planned on law enforcement, but we've all just kind of branched out into different branches from there. I found my way into the Explorer program that the fire department has, our junior firefighters, in January of 2004, so it's been nearly 21 years now since I've been started as a 15-year-old, and I just loved it and eventually became a volunteer. And then when we got the paid personnel, I was one of the original 10 hires. I was one of the part-timers for the first 3 months, and then one of our personnel left, and I took his spot full-time, and just been there ever since, making it a career out of it.
Well, and it's a great career. Used to be that you couldn't make a career out of firefighting here. Now, you could in the bigger cities, Cookeville. I go back to the day, though, when Cookeville, most of it was volunteers. They had a few full-time, but not much. But everything's changed in firefighting. I mean, I was on the volunteer fire department when I first moved here to go to Tech and was on it for several years. And we fought fire with a pickup truck with a little bitty tank and pump in the back. I don't know if we had any air packs or not. I'm not sure we did. We went into the fires and you stood it as long as you could with the smoke, and then you come back out and then you went back in. It's totally changed First of all, with the volunteers, I don't know what happened, but we had a period in time that I think you can look at that you used to have people just hanging out at the fire station, waiting for a call to come in. Yeah. It was kind of a community. And then all of a sudden, it become really hard to get folks to volunteer, didn't it?
Yeah, we face that now. We have a core group that'll still be there, still hang out. But there's a lot of them that don't anymore. I think it's a mindset in the generations that have came. Because I know we struggle, and we're not the only ones struggling.
It's nationwide.
It's nationwide.
It's a nationwide problem. The numbers for volunteers are down drastically compared to when I started as a firefighter 17 years ago. It was Tennessee, it was about 80% of the firefighters were volunteer, and now it's more like 59% of the firefighters are volunteer across the state.
I know we had a roster when I joined of about 85 or 90, and that would have been in 2000. Our roster hasn't changed. We got about 80 members now. I've got some in process, so that number will go up. But having said that, we've got 24 paid personnel between our full-time and our part-time in my position.
But we had to.
Yeah.
I mean, we needed to, but
just to keep the same amount of people on the roster.
Yeah, and I think you may be right with the generational thing, because I talked to nonprofits and a lot of the other folks that have been backed by volunteers or even totally funded with the volunteers being the workers. Hard to get folks that want to give up their time anymore. And I've noticed something with the younger generations that their time means more to them.
100%.
So they come in, it's not so much about the money that you may be paying them on the job. They want to know how many vacation days I'm getting, what's my work schedule, am I off on weekends, that kind of thing. And it's not only put a hardship on the fire departments, it's put a hardship on just about anything that's dependent on volunteers in the past.
Yeah, and then every now and then you'll get 2 or 3 a year, and they're like, you don't know where you've been, but do you have a brother or sister?
Can you bring some of the family?
We'll take some more just like you.
We're talking with the Putnam County Fire folks today, new Fire Chief Jeff Hicks and Coty Nash. Firefighting not only has changed with the volunteers, but it's changed with the equipment. If we'd had some of the big trucks that y'all have got today, we probably killed ourselves back in the day. It's unbelievable how the equipment and everything has changed today. When you look compared to those little bitty trucks that we had then to the large trucks that you have now, it's just no comparison.
Yeah, looking back, of course, most of those trucks was gone when I came on in 2000, and we had 2 Class A engines and 1 tanker pumper. And then we had a couple of homemade trucks, milk trucks that were pumpers, and we had a bunch of the mini pumpers, and we still have a few of those. But I don't say you put anything out, and I don't say enough water to do what you need to do.
Well, the water was a problem, and of course it still is in a lot of places. But we've got to the point, and that's the one thing that had kind of already started before I came into office. But we started looking at that 5-year plan and making sure that what are we going to need out 5 years, and so we started a replacement thing on the trucks. We started a replacement program on the stations and the buildings, and we've come a long ways. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. We got to take a break. Listen to Today in Putnam County. My guests today are Fire Chief Jeff Hicks and Assistant Chief Coty Nash. We'll be right back.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great weekend. My guests this week are Fire Chief Jeff Hicks and Assistant Chief Coty Nash. We're talking about the Putnam County Fire Department. So Jeff and Coty's not new to the fire service. They've been involved in fire service for a long time, and we started back in 2014 after I came into office a 5-year plan where we started looking at replacing the vehicles, the fire trucks, the buildings, anything that was a capital project need that we were going to need to do. We had even building roofs was a big thing back then, and we've spent a lot of money doing a lot of projects, but it needed for us to stay caught up. One of those things was replacing the trucks. And we got on a plan where that every year we try to buy a new fire truck. And when you start looking at as big a county as Putnam County is and all the stations we've got, it requires a lot of equipment, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it really does. And we're building new stations, and we have to be able to equip them. And what's one of the things, even once we get enough apparatus for each station, we still need a few more, because currently our engine blew a hose. So we had to take it out of service yesterday, and so we had to pull from another station. So that's something, it's you have to pull from an unmanned station because you got a manned station where people's at. So that's something we've got to fix in the long term. We don't fix it today, but
yeah. Well, and Coty, we've been having a hard time getting trucks. With COVID and everything and the supply chain and everything, it really put us behind. And you start ordering a fire truck and they're saying it's 2 or 3 years to get it. That's an issue, isn't it?
It's usually 2 years at a minimum for most people, and it depends on the apparatus they're buying, what style it is. Like an aerial, for example, with the big ladder on it, for a lot of them are taking 4 years to get, depending on the department, how many bells and whistles you're getting put on it. Even just a base truck, not much on it. Yeah, it's usually about 2 years now to get a hold of one.
So we got to stay ahead of the game. The other thing we've been doing that needed to be done a long time ago was replacing the old stations. They were real small buildings because the only thing they had to house was that pickup truck style mini pumper. So we've been replacing all those buildings. We're getting close to being finished, right?
Yeah, we're down to a couple. We started one in Gentry, so this will be the first time per ISO that residents in Gentry have ever had fire protection, even though they've had a
building and a truck
for years.
Yeah.
ISO wouldn't recognize it, so that should help those folks with their insurance premiums, which is what we shoot for.
Yeah, new fire station going in where a lot of you might know where Stanton's store was for many, many, many years, and we appreciate Jimmy Stanton selling us the property there and going to put a fire station. And that store was a huge thing for the community for a lot of years. And so I know Jimmy talked about having a fire station there for the future now. That keeps that piece of property in the community meaning something to the community.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then we one more station after that, having them all done?
Area of Austin Bottom. We've got some prospects. Hopefully we can get that worked out so we can get a station going down there. It's been approved by the commission. So we have the capital project for it. We're just looking for the land.
Looking for the land, yeah. And I think we're going to be able to work out something maybe with Nash's church down there.
I sure hope so.
We're looking to them.
It's the right location.
It is. It's a good place. So just got a new tanker truck that we got on the grant?
Actually, we've received 2 this year. One of them was from a capital project, and then the other one was on a grant. We just got it in service a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago. It got put at one of the substations that's manned by a full-timer, and the other truck's almost ready to go.
Well, and it's always good to get those CDBG grants, and you start paying $400,000 or $500,000 for a fire truck.
We actually have one in this budget, and it come over budget at $638.
Wow.
So I told them, I said, look, you got to get it down. I can't handle that.
It's amazing that the increase in the cost of the trucks now, and
most trucks these days are probably closer to $1 million, just based on that department's needs and what they get. So it's crazy to say, but $600,000 might be relatively cheap now
compared to some of the others. Well, everything's gone up. Inflation is just killing us, and vehicles is a big part of that with the inflation. So you were talking with Coty Nash and Jeff Hicks. Jeff is our fire chief. Cody's our assistant chief of the Putnam County Fire Department. They're new into leadership, been in the fire department for many years, but new into leadership, and we're talking with them about all the things going on with our county fire department. And I have to say, we have a great group of men and women that are in our county fire department, both full-time, part-time, and volunteer, that are there to serve you 24 hours a day. God forbid, if you have a fire at your home or property, they're on the scene. They're coming to help you. Let's talk about calls. Things are changing in the fire service too, and I've said this many times, and the fire service across the country have done such a great job of educating the public with smoke detectors and fire alarms and escape routes. Building codes have got much better so that we're building houses better. You don't see as many people burning wood and stuff in fireplaces and having wood burning stoves. And y'all almost, you've almost educated yourself out of a job. I know you still have calls, but you have to change the attitude and the way that fire operates in the future. I was looking at some of your numbers, and you'd had like 28 building fires and 24 vehicle fires and 48 brush fires and 152 auto accidents that you responded to. But then your first responder calls that you're going on to medical was 1,000.
Yeah, it's actually probably closer to 1,200 to date.
And so fire has got into the medical first responder, and we knew this years ago. We just didn't have the paid people and stuff to do it like we do today. But first responder program has been a great thing, where that you got whether it be a sheriff's deputy or a police officer or fire or a rescue or whatever it is, we want somebody to get on the scene.
Yeah, it's saved lives. There's people alive today in this county walking around.
Yeah, because of a first responder that happened to be close or that responded. And with the way the fire stations are scattered out across the county, it just makes perfect sense that if those guys aren't on a fire call, that they respond and try to get there first. And, they carry AEDs and they can do CPR and all these kind of things and save lives. And then also it helps once the paramedic crew gets there to help them with loading the patient and getting them out into the ambulance so they can get to the hospital. And it's made a huge difference, hasn't it?
It really has. And we do a lot of helping load patients for, when they're under a hill or whatever, from a wreck even.
Yeah.
We do a lot of manpower calls.
EMS just needs help lifting a heavier patient. Sure. I mean, there's only 2 of them on an ambulance, and back injuries are the number one thing in emergency services as far as EMS goes, and what they do, and it hurts people's careers. So if they can get some extra people to help lift somebody,
keep everybody safe,
make it easier on everyone else and less likelihood of injury.
And unfortunately, but it's just a fact of life, not saying anything bad about anybody, but obesity is really increased in our country, where that when I was on the ambulance years ago, I mean, our average weight of the patient we probably got was 180, 200 pounds.
Right,
and 2 people lifting that wasn't a deal. It's nothing now to get 500 and 600 pound people, and that's not every day, but that average weight, I'm sure, has went up considerably, and so y'all have been a godsend to be able to be out there to help the paramedics and to assist them, and you got your firemen. I mean, a lot of them are EMTs and paramedics themselves, and so having an extra pair of hands and another mind treating that patient makes a huge difference.
It does. We
got to take a break. You're listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. More with Fire Chief Jeff Hicks and Assistant Chief Coty Nash. Stay with us.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. I'm hoping you're having a great weekend. Fall is here. Hey, football season, leaves are about to turn. Hey, it won't be long before Christmas. I know it's a little early to be talking about that, but it's coming fast. Our show this week is about our Putnam County Fire Department and the new leadership there. We've got new Fire Chief, Mr. Jeff Hicks, new Assistant Chief, Mr. Coty Nash, Tom Brown, our Fire Chief for many years, retired about 9 months ago, and he had been training Jeff to step up. He was our Assistant Chief and stepping up, and so Jeff's in that position now, and Cody's his assistant. We were talking, guys, about how fire has changed, the fire service has changed, and now you're running first responder calls, and that's become a huge part of your call volume. But one program we started a few years ago that's really, I wasn't for sure how it was going to go when we first did it, but the live-in program, Jeff, where we allow college students or young people that are single to actually live in the fire station for free, but then they have to give us so many hours and be on call to run the fire.
Yeah, that's actually been a really great program, and they was the guys that worked at our main station. We had a kid that needed a place to stay. That's how it actually got started. And at the time, there were 3 chiefs at the time, and they were not. They didn't want no part of it. The boy needed a place to stay, and I can tell this now, for 3 months, he lived at that station before they figured out he was actually living there. But it was really positive in his life, and I feel like that's made a positive impact on his life, and he's done well ever since. So he started the program unofficially, and we've been doing great since then. I mean, like at our main station, we have people that are not ready to live out on their own and run calls on their own, whether it's their age or their driving or their certificates.
Yeah.
But we have 3 there, and then we have the southern station down at Windycliffs. We have 2 that live there, and then we have one up on Brotherton Mountain and one
bottom of Pfeiffer Mountain.
Bottom of Pfeiffer Mountain on Klaus Drive. We have one there. He's been a live-in for about 5 years.
A few years now. He started at the main station, then when we got him to the point where he can live somewhere on his own and run calls, and I could trust him how to call on his own.
See, that's
supervision.
Great.
We put him out at another station where there's only a couple of people that live in that area for our department.
And we're building all of our stations now to have living quarters in them. I mean, they got bathroom, showers, bedroom, kitchen.
Just like a little apartment.
And so they're there in that area of the county to be able to respond whenever they're not in school or whatever their day-to-day day-to-day job is, but it makes a big difference.
It does. It's been
there.
A major asset.
Yeah, so it's a good program. Y'all got another good program that y'all been doing for a while. Coty, tell us about the smoke detector program that the fire department does.
The smoke detector program, or the Get Alarm Tennessee program, is a grant through the State Fire Marshal's Office where they provide us with smoke detectors, the 10-year battery detectors to install at homes free of charge. We get those, and if anyone's interested, we've got the link for that on our Facebook page where you can apply for one. Someone will contact you. Usually me. I tend to do most of the scheduling and keep track of the paperwork, coordinate with the state, handle everything but installations. I'm not a handyman. You don't want me coming in your home doing that. But I got a bunch of good guys to do all that. But we just come out and install them for you, and we just try to figure out a day and a time and send someone out there. And since we started doing it, since Tom took over as chief in 2016, I can track the numbers since then. So since 2016, we've installed over 1,500 detectors in about 400 homes, and that includes the hard of hearing detectors, like the bed shakers for people that just aren't going to hear a smoke alarm, but they can still be notified if there's a fire, and it'll wake them up.
That's amazing, and that's been a great service. And those smoke detectors mean the difference between life and death sometimes in a fire.
That's a fact.
To know if you get that alert so that you can get you and your family out. And that's free, right, Coty? All they got to do is contact you.
All they do is contact the department, and one of the other guys may handle the scheduling, but most of the time it finds its way to me, and we just figure out a day and a time that works best for the person whose home it is, work around their work schedule, and because we're available 24/7 as long as we're not running calls or something comes up. But we just work with them and figure out when they want someone to come out there, and now we have to install them ourselves. It used to be years ago that we could just give it to you if you applied for it, but people just started selling them or not installing them in the proper places, so this fire marshal's office said you have to do it yourself.
Well, that's good to get them in. If you're interested, PutnamCountyTN.gov and click and go to the fire department and look at it, or 931-528-1200 is the telephone number at the fire department. There you can leave a message. And
Facebook's got a link to it, and if you want to be a fireman, there's a link there right there on the front of it.
Let's talk about Facebook. Social media, unbelievable. I've always said with mine, I got about 52,000 followers now, and it's a blessing and a curse.
That's a fact, 100%.
When you look at it, I mean, to hit that many people and get information out at one time is amazing.
It is.
Immediately.
It's amazing. But the negativity sometimes with a few people, but otherwise it's a good thing. Y'all have fire department Facebook page, and you actually put out information about where you've been on calls at, if you've had big fires and stuff. So you know how the rumor mill gets started. Fire here and this and that happened, but y'all actually put out the exact information on the Facebook page, right?
We do. Drew does all of our Facebook page, social media, and he's been great. He's our PIO and
Public Information Officer, in case you didn't know what PIO is.
And he's doing a great job. And so all the one thing that's helped him is all the guys behind him. We have a hidden Facebook page where we can send pictures and things, and then he can grab them and upload them to the main page. But yeah, and then can't do everything. If there's been a fatality or something, we're not going to post that. But if it's information we can share, we want it out there because that people needs to see that. Hey, your department's working for you.
Y'all are doing a good job.
Right.
Absolutely.
People are always curious about what's going on anyway.
Oh, they are. And I go back. I remember when WHUB used to announce on the radio where the fire trucks were going in the city.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have a way of getting all the volunteers to know, so they everybody listened to WHUB. It was the only radio station back then. And when the fire would come in, they would announce on the radio where the fire was. Now you can imagine.
Well,
you had a bunch of people going that would just go to see the fire. But,
well, in Monterey, they had the siren. The tornado siren, and if it was in zone 4, they blowed the siren 4 times. You just drove around and looked for it. How things have changed.
Times have really changed. Yeah. We only got a couple minutes, but I want you to talk about the Explorer program that allows young people to get involved and hopefully make it a career one day.
So the Explorer program is for anyone 14 to 20. It's up to 20 years old. We used to require you to be 21 to be a volunteer. Now it's just 18. So most of them, by the time they get 18, they join the department as a volunteer. If they join the department, not everyone does. Eventually they might move on to something else, but it's just for kids looking to get interested in a career in the fire service or emergency services in general. We do just basic training with them. Here's your gear, an air pack. We can do some live firefighting exercises, search and rescue, throwing ladders up, whatever the case may be. Just basic stuff, basically getting them ready for a career in the fire service. And we've had programs started in November of 2001, and we've had dozens of people become firefighters or police officers or EMTs, paramedics. Yes, we got plenty on the department now or scattered across the state at other departments, just working it as a career itself.
Well, that is great. If you're interested in the Explorer program, same thing. Go on Facebook. You can go on the website, putnamcountyn.gov, or you can call 931-528-1200.
Yep.
Guys, thank you for being on the show today, and most of all, thank you for what you do for our county and your service. I know it's a dangerous job, but we appreciate what y'all do. Thank y'all.
Thank you for having us.
We can be here.
Thank the men and women of our department. I wish my Deputy Chief Charles Dawes could have been here, but he couldn't make it today. So.
I understand. We'll get him on another time.
There you go. Make him go solo.
Yeah,
that's right. Got a couple of events to tell you about. October 4th and 5th is the Putnam County Chuck Wagon Cook-Off at the Lazy G Ranch at 6070 Dodson Ranch Road. Tickets are available on the Visit CookvilleTN.com website. I will say that the tickets are going real fast. There's not a lot of them left, so if you're interested in going, it's going to be bison tour, wagon rides, cattle roping, Wild West reenactors. And then on Saturday the 5th at noon is the Chuck Wagon Cook-Off, where you can go out with your family and eat a great lunch as they cook them on the old-timey chuck wagons. Then on October the 20th is the 5th annual Brunch for the Brave at First and Cedar. This is put on by 37 Cedar and Red Silo. It benefits Operation United Hope, Dust Off Ranch, and Forging Forward, the nonprofits. They have a lot of activities for kids, and that's on October the 20th. I believe it starts at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. On November the 2nd and 3rd, the 5th annual Cookville Christmas Market from 10 to 4 at the Putnam County Fairgrounds on South Jefferson. It's got a $2 admission for adults, with kids getting free. That's a great event each year. If you've never been, you'll have a great time. Hey, that's our show this week. Hope you join us every weekend for Today in Putnam County. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and may God continue to bless our great county.
You've been listening to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.